So at this point in time, I would say the types of jobs they can do are probably interim jobs or entry-level jobs at the moment. But I'm sure OpenAI will probably release something tomorrow and change all of that. But at this point in time, I'll say they're more to do with entry-level jobs. So we'll talk a little bit about the client. In this case, the client I was working with was a sole owner of a Shopify store. They were receiving a lot of growth from Instagram and TikTok, but it brought a few issues. One of them being all of the customer support queries that they were getting to their inbox. It was very unstructured. As you can see from some of the quotes, I'm tired of answering the same questions every day. Even though they did have an FAQ, sometimes customers just wouldn't bother. The other thing was if I have to copy and paste one more tracking link, I'm gonna lose it. So these are the kinds of things that the client at the time was going through, which we were aiming to solve with an AI agent. So with this AI agent, this is kind of what we're gonna be going through today. It won't be a live build, but I'll be talking you through it anyway. So we're gonna have an AI agent that can answer queries from an FAQ document. It's gonna be able to check Shopify for order statuses. So you can imagine if a customer comes in and says, hey, what's the status of my order? Has it been shipped yet? It'll be able to do all of that. A very important one is it can escalate questions it's unsure of to the owner, just so it doesn't make up anything. Like I'm sure if you use ChatGPT, you know it can hallucinate a little bit. And then lastly, we'll also allow it to respond in your tone of voice. So this is important if you have a brand voice that you kind of want to upkeep as well. And these are all of the ingredients. So when you're first creating an AI agent, I would really recommend you first want to think about all of the tools, data sources, and the logic that you're going to put into an AI agent. And you don't need to do this with code. I would literally recommend doing this with pen to paper. So first was the tools that we were going to use that you can see on the left. So I was going to use Relevance AI to create my AI agent. So if you haven't heard of Relevance AI, it's just a no-code platform that allows you to build AI agents. It's very easy to use, drag and drop and typing. Next, I knew I'm gonna need a Gmail integration because a lot of the customers email in, so that's definitely one tool I'm gonna need. We're gonna need to use the Shopify API as well. That will allow the AI agent to do things like check order statuses, maybe answer any questions about inventory of the store as well. Of course, sometimes we have make.com as well. So the thing about Relevance AI is it doesn't have the best set of integrations. So sometimes I would need to build those integrations with make.com as well. And then the last one is Vapi Voice, which I didn't do for this, but it probably would be something I would add to improve upon it. And that will just allow the AI agent to answer calls and speak on the phone with customers as well, if we needed. Next, we have our data sources. So one was the FAQs document, which was a simple Google Doc created by the client, just to answer all of the frequently questions that they get. Brand and tone instructions as well, just so it knows how to speak to the customer. You got to select an AI model. I would normally, in a customer support environment, I would normally lean towards Claude than ChatGPT. It just sounds a little bit more human. Maybe that's just my opinion, but from my experience, that seems to be the case. And then lastly, we also have a knowledge base as well. So you could think of the knowledge base as kind of encompassing of the FAQs document as well, but it's also a place where you can store some additional scenarios for the AI agent. So you could do things like say, if a customer asks this, they probably want this, therefore give them X. And then the last thing is we have the AI agent logic, which is the prompt instructions and the escalation rules as well. And then this is what it looks like to the customer. So the customer would ask something like, where's my order? They would get, you could see the order status there, the tracking number, a link as well to the tracking number as well. And then, yeah, just a simple email. But obviously I've created this one for a fake store because the client wants to keep things private. And then once we get into the Relevance AI platform, there are kind of two sections you want to break it down to. So one, we've already discussed in detail, the tools and integrations. And then the second part is the AI agent logic and the setup as well. So we'll keep going. So before I kind of show you some screenshots, another question I have for you is, has anyone ever hired someone or tried to hire a freelancer, a few of you? All right, so when you've hired someone, how do you make sure they know what they're doing very clearly? Okay, feedback and Q&A is one. Sorry? Yep, a job spec. Anything else? Yep, process project. So the way I think about my AI agents when I'm first building them is I like to think of them as humans. You don't want to give them too many jobs and you don't want to give them too many tools because like a human, they'll get confused, they'll start using the wrong tools for the wrong jobs as well. So you want to kind of keep them as specialized as possible. And in my opinion, the future of AI agents is multiple specialized AI agents working together to achieve a bigger goal. That's probably why you've heard that a lot. Specialized agents are definitely the way to go rather than one super agent who can do everything. And yeah, so we've already touched on this. So specifically within the Relevance AI platform, speaking on that kind of philosophy, the first thing you want to limit is the number of tools for each AI agent. I would recommend a maximum of 8 to 10 tools per AI agent. And you can think of a tool as an action between the AI agent and the software. So one tool in this example would be a tool to send emails from a Gmail account. Another tool would be to check for order statuses in Shopify. And maybe another tool is to, check the stock within Shopify as well. So you want to keep each of these jobs limited, specific, and a maximum of 8 to 10. Any questions so far? Are we all good? Yeah, okay. Then the next thing you want to think of is how your AI agents can be triggered. Within the Relevance AI platform, they can be triggered from two methods. So one, we have the chat interface. So it's literally like a chat box, like you would use ChatGPT. You would say, hey, can you find me this? Can you do this? And then it'll go away and use the tools and then do the job that you say it out to. The other way is data coming into the Relevance AI tool. So if you've ever used something like zapier.make.com, it's the same kind of concept where you have a trigger from one piece of software into Relevance AI. So in this example, the trigger would be an email from a customer, and then that would set off the other tools and the logic as well that would make it work. So the first tool that I set upon building was the Shopify tool. And the logic here, as we can see from the flow, is firstly, there's a customer query. And the AI agent is smart enough to know when to use this tool and when not to use this tool. So it's probably going to be triggered to use this tool when there's something like a question about an order status or stock or something of that nature. Next, the next flow in the tool is for the AI agent to make a search via the Shopify API. So that's a very simple step, which you'll see in a moment. And then once it's made that search in the API and got that information, then it returns with an answer. So if Sally from Scunthorpe asks me, where's my order? I can say, okay, Sally, your order's been shipped. Here's a tracking status. And then Bob's your uncle. Something I had to make, which you could see right here. So when you go on Relevance AI, the main platform consists of your agents and tools you can make. Some of the tools are native to Relevance AI, so things like integrations with Airtable. I think they have a few integrations with Gmail now, but for other tools, you'll probably need to create them yourself. And there's two methods to doing this. So this is the main method that I would recommend using. So the first part we could see at the top are the inputs that you would set up for the AI agent. And these are literally, I've just created these from text inputs right here. So we can see at the top, I've said the order number is the first input you need. And the second input is the conversation ID. I've just put the conversation ID just so it can keep the email within the same thread for the customer. But the main input that it needs is the order number. And then here you could see I've also added a description as well under order number. And that's just so the AI agent knows exactly what to put into that tool as well. And then beneath that is the action that we want to take once the AI agent has got the data. So at the bottom, we can see I've made an API call right here. And then at the end of the API call, I've also included the number, which is a variable from this step right here. And this is really simple. If you haven't worked with APIs before, this is actually really easy. You can definitely get ChatGPT to help you to write out that specific line as well. And then beneath that, yeah.
Where's that screen from? What are we looking at?
So this screen is from inside of Relevance AI. Yeah. So yeah, this screen is from Relevance AI, and this is a tool setup within Relevance AI. So when you log in, when you log into Relevance AI, you'll see a menu on the left. You click on Tools, Add New Tools, and you'll see something like this. And then at the bottom, we have the headers and the tokens, which just help us to get to this client-specific Shopify store as well. Does that all make sense, or is that a little bit complicated? Is that all right for everyone? Okay, so next we have the knowledge tool. So Relevance AI also does a good job at knowledge retrieval. So this is where we'll essentially be storing our FAQs as well. And I got a client to make the FAQs with a simple Google Doc, nothing complicated. And then I took that Google Doc and just uploaded it into Relevance AI. So really simple there. And then the flow here is when a customer sends in a question, it checks the FAQs, and then it's able to reply with an answer. And then here is the tool setup for the particular knowledge tool as well. So again, very similar format. At the top, we've got the first input, which is the customer query. Cool, got 5 minutes left. Next, we've got the Google Doc, which I've just uploaded as a PDF, so it knows how to use that. And then beneath that, I've just included an LLM step. So you can see the prompt here. You are a customer support agent. Your goal is to answer these questions in a polite manner. Use the answers from our customer support FAQs document, and then it spits out an answer quite easily. And then here's a Google Doc, really simple. And then it's a very similar process with the email tool. But if you're using Relevance AI, you won't need to build your own email tool at the moment. You could just use a direct integration and you'll be fine with that. Yeah, so I would recommend making them as comprehensive as you can. If it doesn't have the answer to a question that a customer answers, it does have an escalation tool as well. So it would email you. And then on top of that, now they have a new feature where you can feed it back into the knowledge base. So you could tell the AI agent, okay, I want you to remember this for future customers as well. And then the last part is the prompting. This is not going to be a very in-depth lesson on AI agent prompting. You can go on YouTube for that. But generally, you want to start off, give it a role and a persona, just so it knows what its job is. You want to tell it the objective that it's looking to set. And then where possible, you also want to add some examples and some variables as well. And yeah, so these are the results for this particular client. So 80% of emails down, instant replies for customers as well when they have some of their issues, no extra hires, and responses sent in under 10 seconds as well. All right, so yeah, that was a general framework of how to make it. You can follow my YouTube channel. I have some more in-depth tutorials that you can go on to look at for more AI agents.